Good afternoon, one and all. I, Padmaja Singh, Student Manager BIIB, feels privileged to introduce our next speaker of the day, Mr. Shyam Chakravarti, Vice President HR, Renault India, Chennai. Sir is graduate in economics and PGT-PM and IR. Sir's core competence encompasses in-depth experience in aligning human resource to the business goals, Hay job evaluation and mapping, compensation and benefits expertise in Indian subcontinent, ME, Africa and Turkey. Hands-on manager, very skilled in MIS, HRMS, implementing and designing. Coaching skills, conducting training programs and designing. Implementing and conducting assessment and development centers. Talent management, career planning and succession planning. Change management, ushering change management through Gallup and Virax and Hayes model in Africa, Middle East, India, APAC and Turkey. Competency mapping or behavioral-based interviewing technique, Lominger. Mergers and acquisition sensitivity. Sir is proactive business HR partner with an experience of 23 years in strategic HR roles across manufacturing, engineering, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, IT and ITES organizations. He has rich experience of working within Asian, North American or European-based multinational business culture. Sir has managed 2 large mergers and led HR integration through extensive mock interventions. Managed the HR due diligence on several multi-million-dollar managed service projects. Sir's hobbies are read voraciously, race cars, modify cars, and to interact with students of various institutes like IIT, Symbiosis, etc. The motto of the Sir's life is to be a good human being and leave a footprint in the world. Sir, the podium is all yours.
Good evening, everybody, and wow, that's the sort of enthusiasm we keep looking in the organizations every morning. Thank you very much for this bright greeting. Thank you. Okay, I will be talking about human resource as we see it from the industry. There's been, lots of changes from the time that we started off from and to what it's come now. I'm also going to be talking straight from the heart in terms of what's good, what's bad, and what's ugly in the present human resource and talent that's available in the country today, and why the country is actually going in a sort of a directionless path of growth. So I'll just start off with something good. And I don't want to ruffle feathers at the moment. So let's start with something good and positive. We did a study some time back with SHRM, and we got this from the study in terms of the values. I think some time back, about 20 minutes back, there was a word about values over here. Can I have hands raised to express that you all give importance to values? How many of you all give importance to values? So what is values, right? I'll quickly rush through this. Okay, what we have over here are the 2 values that we sort of, did a survey across the country with about 3,500 students, married couples, families, all across. I'm afraid we didn't complete the survey with a larger proportional of population, but however, this is what we did. We had the terminal values and the instrumental values. I'm sure you must have gone through both the value systems. Now, these are the values we actually decided on the basis of the organization that we set up in India as to the important values for an Indian company. And we charted these values with the baby boomers, Generation X, and now the Generation Y that's in front of me. When I started off, young, we always heard this sort of a thing, the cliched term, that there's a generation gap. So do you all agree there's a generation gap? Oh, look at this. One minute. One minute. What does this mean? This is all the three generations that have been mapped together on all the values, the instrumental values and the terminal values. And the map comes out to be the same. Can you beat this, everybody? There is nothing called generation gap. It is different perceptions, but the end of it, all of us, the baby boomers, the Generation Y, the Generation X, Generation Y, all have the same thought process for values. I had spoken about this to Professor Bala last week, and I had said, and I promised him that I would show him this. It's a very, very important slide, and that's the good I want to talk about. We're talking about Generation Y today, where all of y'all are raring to go and do a lot of things in the country, in the business, in the institutions, in the organizations. And believe me, if anybody ever tells you there's a generation gap, this is what you can tell them. There is nothing called generation gap. It's just that you'll see it in a different way. Your conversations could be a little different, but end of it, the values, the terminal and the instrumental values that we spoke about and I showed you just before this remains the same, mapped for everybody. Any questions here?
So, when it comes to values, and if you go to a person and talk to him about value systems, if you go to a person and talk about value systems, no matter to which generation he belongs to, he would always talk about the most idealistic possibilities. And no matter what value systems he actually follows, he would probably portray a value system that is most acceptable socially. So that is probably where we are not able to understand the gap, the way they act and the way they actually believe.
See, the problem about India is that we are basically a hierarchical society. And we always, choose and chose to listen to what has been told top down to us. Why would you like to talk about values to somebody, is my question. Why not show your values? Values are shown, values are practiced, values are not talked about. And wherever it is talked about, that is where you will find a difference in perception. So don't get too flustered by the fact that somebody tells you your values are different from my values. Don't bother too much about it. End of it, everybody in the country, we all are governed by similar values. We talk different languages, different dialects, but the same values remain the same. So that's about the good that I wanted to talk about.
Sir?
Now, yeah.
Sir, this side. Sir, on your right.
Okay.
Sir, I would like to say that, sir, this side.
Yeah, okay.
So that values are actually brought down from generation to generation. Like what my values are, I have gained those values from my elder generation. So to actually carry out a survey to find out the difference in the values of different generations is perhaps not a very good idea actually, because the values are inherited, sir. So there are perception difference in different generations, but value would remain same every generation. So this is actually a moot point. Okay.
You spoke the right words. It's just a perception difference. I mean, let's talk about a product that I'm familiar with. We're talking about cars. In the old days, you had an Ambassador. That was a very fast car. Today, you have a Mercedes-Benz or a Ferrari. They are also fast cars. I mean, we're talking about the cars that we are seeing today in the country. But there's a difference in all the cars completely. That used to be a, hand shift gear in those days. Then we went to floor shift. Then we went to turbo. Then we've come back to paddle shift. But the car remains the same, isn't it? It's the individualistic perception in the cars that differed from generation to generation. So that's exactly what we're talking about. An Ambassador car was a very fast car in those days. Today it is not. So today you have a different car, which is faster. But both the cars do the same thing in the value chain. They deliver you from one place to the other. So it's just the same thing. We're talking semantics over here. So that is exactly what I wanted to touch upon. It's quite, surprising. You can just see it. The mapping is exactly the same for all the different generations that we've got. And we've done it with 3,500 people. We'd like to do it with more, but end of it, it comes to the same thing. Okay, so we congregate today to talk about a brand, and that the brand is you. Is there anything surprising for you? So we're going to be talking about you and women as well. Young man, make your name worth something. Who said this? I know 4 o'clock is quite a boring time. You might feel a little lazy and tired. Okay, that was said by Andrew Carnegie. So we're talking about a brand. Is it familiar? So what do you want to be? What do you want to be? Are you asking yourself this question? What do you want to be? What have you all studied for? What's the course that you have done? Are you understanding me? So what do you want to be? Can I have some answers?
I really don't have an answer for this question because I've been trying to look for it for quite some time now. But
Very honest reply.
But I really believe that there's a kind of a rat race that's going on and has been going on for a few decades. And somewhere in that rat race, we've forgot how to analyze and how to understand what we actually want to be.
Who started the rat race?
Generations.
And at the end of the day, what are you? You're just a rat. So why be in the rat race?
That's the bare minimum necessity right now.
Is it? Too many people, less jobs.
We need to have a life for ourselves.
No, now you're getting into something else. You're talking about life.
Yeah.
We'll talk about life later if you have more time. I'm asking you a question, what do you want to be? And that's something you said you're not very clear. But then we spoke about rat race. My question to you is, who started the rat race?
Irrespective of the fact that who started it, we are still in it. And somehow we're not able to move out of it. How should we move out of it?
Did you see the advertisement on the Bonville coffee, the Bonville cocoa bean?
Yes, sir.
What happened over there? Only the best make it to the Bonville, and the rest get thrown out. Now, is this what we're talking about, the rat race? Being the best in what you do? See, everybody has their threshold of competence and skills. No one person or no two persons are made alike. You accept that? If that is so, then obviously somebody's competence will be a little higher than the other, and somebody's skills will be a little less than the other. Is that acceptable fact? But in the competence that you are in, or in the skill level that you are in, try to give an output that is the best. And that's what you ought to be doing, to be above the rat race. You'll make it into Bonneville only that way, as a good cocoa bean, and not get thrown out of the rat race, if you are the best. I'm not saying there's anything called competition there. If you are the best, you don't worry about competition. You continue to be the best in whatever you do. You excel in whatever you do. So gentlemen answered this. I think most of you will be asking these questions as well. I mean, it's not surprising. Are these familiar questions? I mean, why am I talking to you guys on these funny questions? You see, we are moving in very different directions today. I'll tell you of some somber and macabre truths that are coming out. There used to be a place, I'm saying used to be, a place called Tirupur. Have you heard of it? What was it famous for? Is it still famous? Tirupur exists now 27 kilometers away from Dhaka. You have at least, you know, you get your idlis and dosas, all the tailors, all the garment manufacturers have shifted to Dhaka. Now what's in Dhaka that we don't have in India? Why has the garment industry shifted there? Jute, cotton comes from India. You buy any trouser, any jeans, anything abroad in Southeast Asia, they're made in Bangladesh. Cheap labor. They also make good, they've got skilled labor as well. Why has it moved to Tirupur? I'll tell you one more truth. There's a place called Thailand. Thailand has got more income coming into Thailand from tourism than your God's own country and India. Why? There's also, Thailand is also famous. Thailand has recently become the world's automotive hub for making station wagons and pickup trucks. Why it has not come to India? Does it surprise you? Are you not shocked? Why is all these things moving out of India? Thailand has got less than 2% literacy rate. Forget speaking in English. The only thing they can do over there is 20 bahts. That's all. But they are taking away all your automobile manufacturing over there. Why? Does anybody know that? Can I have an answer here? Hello? Whose policy paralysis? I'm afraid that's not the word. You know, the most common cliched term we hear is 1.5 billion people and there's no talent anywhere. All the time we are looking for getting good talent in India, and then you turn around and say there's a rat race. I can almost hear a silence over here, pin drop. So how many of you all over here? 700? How would you like it if I say no talent? See, when we speak about there's no talent in the country, we are talking about an average MBA passing out who doesn't do the things that he needs to do. We are all searching for the right talent in every company. We've been doing this. I've done it with the Tatas. I've done it in Escorts. I've done it with ex-Ciba-Geigy, which is Huntsman. I'm doing it with Renault. There is no talent available. I recently conducted an assessment center for a position of head of marketing in our company, and I wanted to take the best from the industry. Believe me, and I'm declaring it in front of you, in the next 5 years, there's no proper talent or competent head of marketing available in the automobile industry. They've all passed from different good institutes here and there, but there's no great talent to take the car industry to the next level. So this is the bad part that I wanted to discuss and share with you. I don't want to scare you. What I want to tell you is, you need to understand about a word called accountability. Have you all heard of this word called accountability? Can anybody say what's accountability? Responsible? You see, what's the funny part about accountability in India is, this is what my experience in the last 24 years tells me. Most Indians think being loyal to your boss is accountable. Loyalty is not accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, accountability is a very serious term and it is very less understood in this country. Accountability is what you need to be ingrained with as soon as you are out in the market looking for jobs. So what's stopping you to get ahead of the rat race now? Anybody stopping you? Who's got the strings to your life? One or two, okay? Everybody doesn't agree. Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you are the CEO of your life. You're going to be moving to the threshold only if you push yourself. Nobody's going to be doing it for you. Familiar with this gentleman, Tom Peters? So what's accountability?
Shoulder responsibility to yourself.
Sounds good? It is taking charge, not blaming others, not blaming circumstances. Something that we rarely hear in our country, isn't it? Inaction of the government. No infrastructure, inaction of the government. It's not our fault. It's the economic disease. Anything familiar over here? Don't you feel angry? So next time you feel angry, just imagine you're the victim. When you talk about accountability, you talk about I factor, I. You take charge of yourself as the CEO. You're in control, you're powerful, you feel lighter, you talk about results. Small definition of the accountability rule. You will gain in personal power and the ability to get results if you assume accountability in all situations, even if you don't immediately see where you were. We'll half full. We've done this number of times. I know we read the newspapers every day, and I'm not asking you to stop. But that's what starts the negativity from the morning. You have the power to choose and control your thoughts. You act as you wish rather than react. Now, it's not surprising to tell you most of us Indians, 1.5 billion people, we are the most reactive country in the world. And sometimes we don't react. We leave acting to Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. We don't act. We need to think big, expand our boundaries. This empowers us. Obstacles are those terrifying things we see when we take our eyes off our goal. Great men make molehills out of mountains. I'm just putting a little few things here and there to just give you an idea as to how the rat race doesn't mean anything. Anything surprising here? We love reading these things in good books. End of the day, we'll come back, this government, this country, and we start blaming everybody else. Give to the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you. You couldn't have asked this from anybody else other than Professor Bala. Very ordinary gentleman. Of course, the army, ingrained a lot of discipline in him. But very, very ordinary gentleman even now. And look what he's done. Can any of you think of doing the same thing? Can you imagine if you multiplied what Professor Bala did over here across the country, the length and breadth, all of you guys? At least 5% or 1% of you guys. Can you imagine what you would do to the country?
It's a very difficult task.
Yeah?
It's a quite difficult task, sir. Bala sir, what he has done, we cannot even do this much of it.
So let's all give up, right?
No, sir, we can try, but we are saying that.
See this, we can try, we are trying, I'm trying my best. I'll get back to you. These are typical cliche terms in all corporate world. I can see a lot of respected gentlemen in front over here from the defense forces. Imagine there's an attack on our country from somewhere and they say, we will try. They turn back and say, the country, India, let me tell you, we are all trying our best. How does it feel? Do they ever turn back and tell you that? All of you all are fortunate. All of you all are coming from very good families, decent families. You'll have ambitions. You'll have visions. All you have to do is think positively and keep your goal in focus. Believe me, competition doesn't help. Believe me. I know in the class you compete against one another. In the interview you will do the same. Just remember one fact, that the more you fight against each other as competitors, the more you will remain a rat. What is this? A footprint? Okay, I'm not too good in drawing. These are 2 feet. Everybody's got that, isn't it? Anybody's got one? Everybody's been blessed with 2 feet? This is the law of 2 feet. I know it sounds like, you know, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you about, just after I finish this, about one more serious thing that's happening. And it doesn't augur a very good feeling. But nevertheless, let me finish up with this. The law of 2 feet. Standing up honestly and authentically for what you truly care about. Taking responsibility and ownership. We need to take ownership for everything that we do. Following what has meaning, soul, passion, spirit for you. Following the dictates of your own awareness and blissfulness. Trusting your inner guru. Don't forget that. Don't lose that. Walking our talk, living with integrity. Integrity is a very large word. Most of us don't understand. We connect integrity only with honesty and leave it lying as a passive word. Integrity is a very large word. And all we need is people with integrity in this country. I'll just focus upon another very serious part that's happening. All of you all from HR or other streams as well? Okay, overwhelmed. Okay, there's great news for you guys now. In Maruti Suzuki company, there is only one Indian in the board. He happens to be a 74-year-old man called R.C. Bhargav. The rest are all Japanese. Did you know that? In Honda Motors and Honda Motorcycles, there's not a single Indian on the board. Did you know that? In Nissan, which is our alliance partners, there's not a single Indian on the board. In Hyundai, of course, it's known, not a single Indian in the board. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Does anybody know that? This is exactly what I want to share with all of you. It concerns me very, very much. This concerns human resource. The very, very core of human resource in the country. Industries are walking out of India. And that's what you're going to inherit. You're not going to be a part of the board in the future for sure. That's what you're going to inherit. We build this for you. This is our gift to you. I'm sorry. My head is hung in shame for this. I'm a part of that. But the reality is, this is what you're going to inherit. Do you know why this is happening? Don't tell me you all are shocked and you all don't know why this is happening. Am I scaring you? It's not meant to scare you. It's just to awaken you, because you need to make some changes that we couldn't do it. We made mistakes. Our generations have made mistakes. When we see a bridge unbuilt, we go from the side and don't say anything. When there's scam after scam, we don't say anything. We just turn the pages of the newspaper. We are all used to all this. Tomorrow, if I resign as the Vice President Human Resource from Renault, believe me, there will be a French gentleman or a lady taking that post. Not one of you Indians will going to take it. And that's a reality. You've seen what's happened in Adidas when they took over Reebok. Do you know the story? How many crores did they swipe the managing director and the CFO? That's what we bloody Indians are. I'm shocking you, but the reality is I get to listen to this every day from the French. every day from the Japanese. We cannot do the right things. When we say we'll do it by Monday, we don't do it by Monday. When we say yes, sir, at the top of our voice, we actually mean no, sir. Why are we like this? So this is where I'm talking about accountability to you. This is why I'm touching upon accountability. When you stand up and say yes, you jolly well do it. When you say you're going to deliver on Monday, you deliver on Monday. That's what accountability is about. This is what I want to share with all of you. You all are young, you all are raring to go. Everything is going off to China as the most favored nation. Some of it going elsewhere in the side. SAARC countries are neighbors. Things are not going to be very, very easy. And the only way to make it easy is you have to learn to be accountable. You have to learn to deliver. And that is what we are seeking from you, from the industry. You've learned your labor laws. You've learned your management books. That's fine. You have to practice what you're supposed to be doing, and you're supposed to be doing it right the first time. Own 2 feet. Otherwise, you will be proving to everybody that you don't have 2 feet. And that is what I wanted to